All right, ladies and gents, welcome. We've got to play all three here, which is in the second rounds for Margougou and Miguel. This has been Group B, the slowest group to get their games done. They're figuring it out, all right? We're on top of it. We've got Miguel. Miguel got 3-0'd in the first round against his teammate Dogal. He struggled at times, and you definitely could see the lack of confidence in his play. It would be huge for him to bounce back here against a player in Margougou who's the 6th seed in the group. He's a player who's promoted from gold, and he's promoted from gold through the playoffs, so it's not like he won his group in gold and made his way. He only had 7 wins in the group last season, but then won the playoff and made his way here, and Margougou has been looking even better since he got promoted. And it just feels like we've got two different pros here. We've got Margougou, who is like on the younger side. He hasn't been playing at the high level as long. He has a lot of these like new age builds. He's very aggressive. He's not always very macro oriented. Dogal more the classic style, a bit slower, likes to play more towards eco and just booming. And also Miguel's been playing the game less. So it's an interesting one, right? But, you know, Margougou got just 1 win in his first rounds. So, you know, while he was up against ACCM and then Miguel was up against Dogal, they're all really good players. It would be amazing for whoever wins this to feel right back on track in this group, because you've got 3 big names. You've got Dogal, Veleza, and you've got ACCM. Veleza and ACCM are definitely going to be number 1 and 2. I'd be shocked, and then probably Dogal coming in 3rd. Maybe. I mean, maybe I'm underselling Dogal a little bit. The point is, though, is there's only one 4th place spot, and that is where Miguel has actually found himself in every single season of Platinum. He's always been 4th. He's always just barely stayed alive, and it has always gone down to the last week, which is the wild thing. So Malians for Miguel, Japanese here for Margougou. Players, they just seem to love El Dorado, guys. We've seen El Dorado every series, it feels like. Now, Miguel came forward early. He did steal some turkeys, but I think he was trying to deny Margougou's dock, and he just missed that dock location. I think at this point he will assume that that dock is up. He is docked as well, and let me talk a positive for Miguel. It feels like it's kind of a negative, but hear me out. He's not practicing as much. He texted me after his series against Dogal. Listen, the honest truth of it is, Miguel isn't sure how much like he can commit to age these days, and he's lacking confidence right now, okay? And I think a positive for Miguel, even though he comes in underprepared and undermotivated, is that El Dorado is an old map. It is an old map that he will remember, and there's really been no tweaks made to this map over the last, 8 years. This map's been around for a very long time. So I think that's a positive for Miguel. Then his home map is Lands Madness. The one where I think I would expect Miguel to struggle and Margougou to definitely have more of an edge would be Margougou's home map, which is Fractal. Having said that, I think that map was in a tournament that Miguel played RMS Cup. So we'll see. So Miguel still scouting around, does see the dock is there now. And we're going to see him click up to the feudal age. Margougou's done the same. Margougou making a barracks here. And the Japanese have so much flexibility. There's still so much food around here. It would make sense to maybe see the Man-at-Arm upgrade. Margougou scouts the dock from Miguel as well. So it's that balance, guys. It's like, can you compete for water while also competing for land? It's the balance that I think is going to separate the players here. And Miguel's been extremely active with his scout, but he hasn't seen the barracks yet. What's tricky, though? Oh, someone wants me to swap sides. Oh, God, I forget the hotkey. There we go. I swapped sides on Capture Rate. Sorry. What's tricky is actually, if they don't scout you, you still can't run through the middle because the middle is always visible. That's amazing scouting from Miguel. And Margougou knew he was going to be spotted anyway, so he just pops out and gets a hit. And Miguel dropping a barracks now and needing to wall up. And let's hope he's warmed up. Let's hope he's fresh. This is going to be the little Frush build that the French have been going for. Sato, player who will be in Platinum next season after getting promoted in Gold here this season. He's the one who kind of started it all off on Arabia, but it's not Man-at-Arms. It's just simply the 2 militia in combination with the starting scout here to get some damage done. So Miguel later to the next stage. Does get his everything walled up. It was stressful moments for him there. And he's going to drop an archer range. His gold's not walled in yet. He's going to wall in his gold, and this is the type of suffocating pressure that Margougou can bring. No, it doesn't seem like a lot, but villagers could absolutely die if they are exposed against Japanese militia. They do attack faster, and then also that starting scout. But Miguel has done a pretty good job thus far. He's run forward with his scout, didn't see the range. He's maybe checking to see if the dock villager's there, and I love how what Margougou's doing. I think this is the way you win on this map. Is prioritize the fish. Obviously, land's strong, but fishing's really important. He does need to be careful. Miguel's looking with that scout. Miguel's going to be making archers, and Miguel could kill that villager. Margougou, let's see his quick walls. The dock will go up, which is a positive, but that's great awareness from Miguel. And Margougou, here we go. New age quick walls, and bam. This is what we're talking about with Margougou, right? Like, the best names with quick walling, it's almost like it's a given, right? It's like, yeah, it'll happen. There's no way the villager dies. Think of like Viper, for example, right? Viper, the one who really started the trend many years ago, but that could have been a villager kill if Margougou wasn't prepared. And obviously, he's done everything else pretty well. He's adding fishing ships behind this. And he'll be adding some navy as well, and it's just been all Margougou so far in this game. Remember, there's lots of gold and stone in the middle. Players only have 2 tiles of stone and gold at their eco, at their base. So I'm wondering now, like, Miguel, he's definitely going, he's going out with fires now. So he wants to compete against the fish. It's so tough to kill Japanese fish, though. I think Japanese are the #1 civ on this map. Because you can just play so greedy with your own fishing ships. But Miguel hasn't scouted the range right now. He has not exactly moved forward. He hasn't taken damage either. And saying that, Margougou didn't scout the range from Miguel, so he doesn't know that Miguel's done this. He knows he can't be anywhere near the TC. And, ooh. Margougou's starting to wall. I could see him moving out any moment now, but he's going to miss this army. And Miguel... That's funny. They're both kind of sneaking the same way. Miguel could find some pickoffs here. Miguel's got fletching. Oh, jeez. Oh, jeez, Miguel. There was an opportunity there. And it's still going to be a decent opportunity for him. He weakens 2 archers. But I feel like that could have been at least 1 kill for him. Does have skirmishers in the mix, though. And still is pressuring on water. Or will be pressuring on water. I'm seeing the fire galley here not headed the whole way. The scout gets brought over here from Margougou to try and contribute here. And this is this Margougou. Beautiful micro. The scout will kill the skirms now. And now Margougou has an opportunity to move forward with those archers. Rez looking pretty good with food for both to think about clicking up. Not sure about these walls for Margougou. I would have preferred maybe walling towards the shoreline. But he's had 6 fishing ships. Miguel's on 9, though. And we are going to see 2 fire galleys from Margougou meet Miguel's fire galley here. Both players have patrolled. Miguel will have to pull back. Miguel will also need to defend himself right now because he lost his range units. And he pulls away. Good reaction. Meanwhile, on a fishing ship over here. But also distracting with the scout attacking the house. And that might seem like a weird thing to point out here. But when you get 3 different attack signals in 3 different spots, you sometimes only realize 2 of them. Margougou realized, though, the fishing ship, I think, is just being sent away. Margougou's up. Miguel's up. The eco is similar. But I'm worried for Miguel at the moment because he doesn't really have the best archer micro compared to his opponent. But here, he's got the navy. He knew that Margougou was looping around. Margougou is definitely going to get a villager kill here, it feels like. It's kind of the same army that Miguel had last time, right? It's the 2 skirms, the 2 archers. Margougou chooses to actually go for army kills. And to me, it felt expected that he wasn't going to be able to stay here for too long anyways, because he's near his opponent's base, right? The opponent's going to get more units. He's trying to snowball the force. Miguel holding really well. Miguel holds on water. It's scrappy. It's not clean, but, you know, he's going to be okay. Margougou also holding on water as well, and lots of resources for both guys. Army counts are going to be important, and man, what a close game to open up this series. Now, there's 4 ships for Miguel. He doesn't have any more on the way. And Margougou has, and there's still this, Margougou has 4 ships with 3 more on the way. So that tells me Margougou will get War Galley. Miguel, I'm not so sure he'll prioritize that. It feels like maybe he's going to prioritize more so the Knights and the TC in the middle. Margougou's been pesky. He's been really annoying with his micro on land and his pressure. But he's getting Bod Canero for now 4 archers, which I don't think is that big of a... I think it's very costly to do, especially when now he can't make a knight. I wonder if that's just Margougou being used to playing into archers. That's 200 food and 100 gold put into upgrading these 4 units. That will all die to a knight anyways. And to not have your own knights now could be a little awkward. Miguel, he already knew the TC was going up in the middle for his opponent. Because it's visible. He's delaying doing the same himself. He's going for +2 armor on the knight. He'll see that Margougou's thinking monks. War Galley upgrade will be in for Miguel, who's just protecting his fish here. He's also sending Navy this way, so he should be okay. Militia! Militia! No kills. There go the archers. This is such a weird move to me. This is the... I mean, he's got crossbow now. I guess if he falls back to the monks, he could end up being okay. And militia finally go down, but nice harassment. Miguel's now off of gold. Miguel, though, on water. Now you can threaten the Japanese fish a little bit. And then on land, the knight finding crossbow kills. Miguel does pull back with the weak knight. He couldn't pull to the side, but seems like he's going to be able to get away. He's still focused here, guys. There's opportunity to kill fish, even though they're Japanese fishing ships. This is a player who hasn't practiced like Margougou, who hasn't been as active as Margougou, but has been around the scene for a very long time, and you can tell how he stayed in Platinum every season, because he's still super consistent and really smooth on his timings and transitions. But it's like things like this. It feels like Margougou's monks are going to be so valuable right now. Miguel, he didn't even build a TC in the middle, which is fascinating, right? His fire ship's going to move through here. And he's got fires moving this way. I think Margougou will start to lose his fish. Which means Margougou is going to be very heavy on things that cost wood and gold. So, monks, crossbows, siege. And Miguel just freely mining the gold in the middle. So relaxed to do that. And there's some good defense there from Margougou. We'll see if that's enough. Miguel's still got ships around. The crossbows from Margougou try and push out. Miguel saw it the whole way through. And that monk then for Margougou gets hit, but will stay alive. The monks need to convert the knights. If you convert the knights take out the siege. Miguel, you cannot allow your opponent to get conversions here. Miguel-goo is what I just said. Whoops. Miguel's about to build a castle, guys. He's just bought the stone. Where does he build it? Can he fit it here? And we've got redemption coming in from Margougou's monks. Margougou trying to convert the siege. It's going to be his game plan. As he still tries to defend what's left of his fish. It's not very efficient. You know, redemption's in 15 seconds. Is Sanctity in? Sanctity's not in. So Miguel could actually hit the monks with the mangonels as well. Miguel's sending more villagers now. Redemption's now in, so the mangonels could be converted. If they're converted, they then could deny the castle. But Miguel's pulling away. He's got another mango here. He's had good patience with this. And Margougou is microing down villagers, but it seems to me like this castle's going to go up. Miguel could back away with the siege. He doesn't back away with the siege. His villagers can't build the castle. Oh, this is so awkward. Castle's going to go up for Miguel, but at what cost? It goes up. Well, guys, this gets fascinating from here, right? Because I think every time I've seen someone lose after building a castle in the middle, it's because they didn't have fish. Miguel's still got decent fish. It's not crazy, but he's got it. Also, he is the siege to be able to push the TC down. Margougou's transition into food economy hasn't been that, ridiculous. So Margougou has the villager lead. He TC'd the middle first. But it was the patient play for Miguel to get the castle that has brought us where we are right now. Miguel, I don't know how this is happening, but this mangonel needs to be saved. You can't lose this. You just can't lose this. And you're going to lose it to the TC. I guess he just doesn't realize that that's happening. Here the fires will engage. Here's another fire coming in. That's my concern right now for Margougou. It's like, you know, you don't have a ton of gold income. I guess he can still take this. But let's see if Margougou can hold against this if he starts to lose his food eco as well. The fact he can still take gold next to this TC is a really big deal. And the monks can convert any knight they see. Like there, that needs to be a delete for Miguel. Not a delete for Miguel. And he could still kind of take gold over here as well. But yeah, converts knights, converts mangonels. Miguel's going to add scouts now against the monks, which makes perfect sense. And now Margougou, a little distracted, loses that monk there. Also starting to lose fishing ships. Also, we'll soon lose the TC. The monks from Miguel looping around, looking for the kill on the monk that converted their friend, the knight. And that's going to be a doink. Well played. But, you know, the crossbow and the monks have done well enough for Margougou. If you check the res collected, it's super close. And Margougou's transitioning into farms. Margougou really wants his own castle. Miguel, he lost the siege earlier. And now the castle's going up. I think that castle position is a little risky here, though. And I'm not sure if Margougou has the army to protect this right now. Miguel's going to run in with the knights. He will find villager kills. And the monk even needs to move away from Margougou, and it's pretty disastrous for him right now. Now, he will convert some knights, but can he make more monks if he loses his monks? I think Miguel would just happily kill the monks, knowing that it'll be tough for his opponent to make more of them. And then he's going to camp that castle. There's now just one monk on the field for Margougou. And Miguel, he's done a great job here, guys. And literally, like, I don't know how much I should really share, but I think it's fair. He just communicated to me very clearly after his loss against Dogout that he just doesn't feel it right now. And he does not think he's good enough to stay alive, and just a lot of things that showed he doesn't have faith in how much of a player he is. And then he's up against this motivated player in Margougou who's active and playing all the time, promoted and this and that, and petards from Miguel. This is maybe Miguel starting to believe a little bit again. And poor Margougou, you're not going to be able to get the stone to build another castle. He's had to delete that now. And he could barely take gold here, like barely. Now, he's converted a lot of knights. But Miguel, he isn't behind heavily in eco because he's on 2 TCs behind this. Miguel happy to just take an engagement anytime he sees the opportunity. Really just needs to kill the monks. Because I think the monks are something that can get continuous value. And they could always convert again. But I don't think we're in a position now for Margougou where he can make much more. His monasteries may go down. And all that hype, all that practice, all that confidence Margougou might have had, maybe starting to wither away a little bit. Great job from Miguel with his farming eco behind. Again, it's been a great job for him to dominate the Japanese, to still have fish. Margougou's going to drop another castle here. And it's a castle that maybe could complete, but this castle doesn't give him access to the gold. To me, it honestly felt as though Margougou had the slightly better position heading towards castle based on how I think this map should play out. I think that prioritizing water is huge. Too many times players are losing their fishing ships and then they don't have the food to do certain things. The Bodkin arrow choice when he went archers is because Margougou plays 1,000 Arabia games a week, and I think he loves his archer play. He's an amazing archer player, but 300 resources into upgrading those archers, which then ended up going down to just a knight or two, felt like maybe the issue for him. I would have liked to have seen maybe a knight or two of his own. I would have liked, because there were no monks from Miguel ever. I think a knight or two from Margougou would have been better than the crossbow choice, or at least the archer choice originally. The monks themselves was good. The timing on the TC, all that was good, but there was a point where Margougou could have maybe held water first, and it's just so tricky. Guys, this is the theme. The first one to the middle on this map always seems to lose. Always. Because they're sacrificing something. And usually it's just they're going to lack eco and they're going to lack army control, which is kind of what happened. But guys, look how close the resources collected was. I mean, Margougou had mainly wood as his lead. He was 800 food behind and he was 600 gold behind. But what is that? Like 15 resources? Very even first game. And Miguel with the confidence boost he needs. All right, so game number 2. And guys, right now in terms of live standings, it's Margougou 1 win in TTL Platinum and Miguel 1 win in TTL Platinum. We've got Persians for Miguel. Now, I think this is going to be a very lamey game. You've got one elephant on this map. And I've said this before, but you need to take in that elephant right away, okay? Players are going to steal it. It bothers me so much on Socotra and on Fractal when players don't look for their elephant. Now, for Miguel, I think he is currently doing so, and he's hoping to spot it, and then maybe he will take it. But here's Margougou. Margougou, you know, he might be steaming a little bit after that game. Might have felt like he should win this. And Miguel knows his elephant is there. He now knows the elephant is leaving. Okay, big moment in this series, not even just this game. I thought Margougou would be really lamey and annoying here because they're so close. Miguel knows his elephant's being stolen. He saw this. He will find it. If Margougou loses his scout and Miguel gets his elephant back, this could be brutal for Margougou. Now, obviously, it could be brutal for Miguel if Miguel ends up losing this. And you can see just how close everything is, right? Like, this is why you got to take that elephant at the start because everything's so close. And Margougou executing very nicely here. That elephant's going to be his. So, not the first time I've seen a player just pushing in a zebra and not scouting for that elephant. The temptation to be greedy and just pushing the zebra when it's right next to your TC is too real for these guys. And now let's see what happens elsewhere. So, Margougou will have tons of food. Miguel wants to chop through here. Now, a fun little fact about this. Margougou probably picked this because he thinks Miguel's not going to be as prepared as some of the other players. But Miguel actually played this map as... Margougou, what are you doing, dude? Oh, there was no wall there. Miguel actually played this map when it was debuted in a tournament called RMS Cup 2 about like 15 months ago. And I looked at the data. And as Miguel is trying to get his villagers in the right positions here, and Margougou's annoyance is paying off somewhat, Miguel knows this map. And he actually picked Persians. Now, he lost with Persians versus Aztecs versus Vivi. But he does know the map. Now, what Margougou wanted to do with that Vil was he wanted to stop this from happening, and Miguel's already there. So good job from Miguel, and the thought process now is chop through to dock. Now, Margougou's done the same, but he doesn't have as much on wood. He's had a villager running forward. He also didn't start with extra wood and extra food like Miguel did being Persians. And Miguel's able to push in the zebra as well here, which is nice. But, I mean, you just losing the elephant, it just frustrates me. The amount of times this has happened is just wild. Like, the same thing happened to Hera in that one game versus Andy, right? I think what Hera was able to do in that game versus Andy was he was able to fish while Andy did not at all. We will see Miguel fish, and we'll eventually see Margougou through. So, another source of food would be the berries. And I just wonder how many games Miguel has watched. Margougou asked to start drafting early. Miguel said, "Sec, I need to look at maps." So he was in the editor looking through some of the maps. And here's Miguel, and Miguel wants to get some laming done himself. And there's villagers already here. So I don't know if this villager will accomplish too much, but Miguel is just going to wall in the Vil and attack the house for a second? Just to live in Margougou's mind? Okay. Margougou might not like that. How's Miguel doing with the chop through? You do have to pay attention to your villagers here. You need to chop through there, Miguel. You're really going to need that dock up. And Margougou sending an additional Vil to deal with this. Margougou's scout's still alive. Again, it is weak. It bothers me that we did not see a shift queue onto this tree. This is a big part of your start here, Miguel. But he is currently distracted with this because he's just gone to go take his berries. And he sees this. And now he's pop-capped, guys. He's housed. And this is just not what you want if you're Miguel. This has been a horrible start. Jan says, I don't like how Socotra and Fractal are both super lamey chaos maps. I think one of those and then pool is enough. Okay, that's fair. But they're not really that lamey. If you think, and they don't play out in the same way. Look at all the Socotra games and all the Fractal games we've seen. Yeah, you are incentivized to maybe send a villager forward to steal an elephant. But if players are using their very strong brains properly, their elephant should never be taken. They'll then get most of their zebra. And then they have fish here, right? If you don't like that aspect of the start, that's cool because you're not a lame type of guy. But the maps are not similar at all, really. And listen, I'm I feel like I'm maybe being too critical at times. But with some things, it's my job, right? I've got to break it down and talk about the strategy. But guess what? Take your freaking elephant. It's not hard. Just take it right away. No questions asked. I think we will see it like in round 3 and beyond. This is round 2 for these guys. They'll be taking their elephants right away. Now, the TC drop really only feels strong here if you have a fish boom. And the fish boom was delayed for Miguel. Miguel is he's just kind of screwed because he doesn't have that elephant. He could have done a lot more. I don't know what more to say than that. Margougou's up. Margougou's adding a dock. Margougou could add fish. And Margougou trying to deal with his villager. And Miguel quick walling and gating and walling. And, well, the gates are Margougou's. And Margougou has trapped this villager. Well played, Margougou. Miguel unable to escape. I don't know what Miguel was necessarily hoping to accomplish with this vill. I think that he came forward hoping to wall this off. But then he saw Margougou was there anyways and felt like, oh crap, I might as well do something. Like even here, I think Miguel's plan is to go, dock this. Oh, but Margougou actually walked through and walled this. But for the time being, Margougou's done a really good job. There's just no wood right now for Miguel. But I think he might try and wall this. This is interesting. Do we have a barracks? We do have a barracks for Margougou. He doesn't have a range or anything yet. Miguel will probably be fine. Interesting is Margougou... How did this happen? Margougou's got a vill on this side of his dock. And Miguel can't access that vill because of the trees and the dock. But then here, Margougou can't go to the middle either because of his own palisade. And then the dock from Miguel. This is super weird. But like, this villager's kind of trapped. You could delete your own wall and run away. But Miguel could always just palisade it. In fact, I think he might want to do it. Anyways, Margougou is going to go archers eventually. He's also going fire galleys because he feels right now he knows his opponent has a dock and he wants to go through there. Miguel could dock block it. Miguel, he's up to feudal. I do want to check res collected. And he's not that far behind. He also still has his scout alive, though it's in a bit of a weird spot right now. I think Miguel is expecting the navy, and Miguel adds a dock here. And this is a Persian dock. Persian docks have double the HP. So, Miguel is able to freely fish boom behind this in theory, right? All that said, archers could still kill him, but Margougou's made a skirm. And he's scouting with the skirm. The skirm's not going to do anything. So, yeah, like, lamey stuff at the start of this game, guys. But they're both kind of in all right positions. It's awkward. It was been very strategic on the outside, and now Margougou's going to build a dock here. Okay, well, I mean, doesn't stop Miguel from being able to send in ships this way. But what that does do is that allows... Wow, that's so sick, actually. This, guys, Margougou's dock here is huge because he cannot... now Miguel cannot fish freely. How did he even get that villager there? Was that the villager that was here, or did that villager die? How? I guess he ran through and he re-walled it. Yeah, Miguel really needed a palisade there. That was the same villager. Spearman, archer, skirmisher right now for Margougou. I definitely prefer his position. Mainly due to the fact that right now he's got some land army and they both don't really have fish. So the fact that they both don't have fish, but then one player has land army, I think I would prefer the land army position. But this is like, yeah, dock blocking opposite sides, which is super weird. Makes sense, though, I guess. And then 2 villagers are trapped in here by the docks they built. Watch Margougou. If Miguel attacks here, it'd be kind of funny. Yeah, because now Margougou might be tempted to send his fire here to save his vill. Or not. Okay, more quick walls. This is peak Age of Empires, guys. This is peak. We have navy being made here from Miguel. The little army from Margougou still's going through. He runs into the TC fire, but it doesn't actually kill the army. And feels like Miguel's just happy to just try and wait till the next age. Been a very even game. Similar to the first game, right? Just awkward at times, and they're going to build up towards something here. More archers, though, for Margougou. I mean, Miguel needs to tower his wood, potentially. He is on stone at the moment. And this should worry him, and he will fight off what he can. Distract with the scout, drop a tower. I'm still waiting to see. There's still only one ship there for Margougou. Here, Miguel could go through. And, I mean, you're not killing any fish, but you could disrupt the wood line and stop the potential for fish. As he hops out, surprise, good luck taking out a Persian dock. Persian docks are insane. Margougou notices. And what a scrappy game. You know what else is great about Fractal, guys? And by the way, you don't have to agree with me. If you don't like Fractal, that's cool. We have 11 maps in the pool. I hope you like some of them. What's been great about Fractal is it feels like every game's different. Like, there's similar elements to every game because everyone has the same potential, of course. Oh, God. Miguel's food eco is abysmal. But yeah, like, this game is entirely unique to what we saw in previous games. The only thing that really was consistent was, you know, there's dock blocking. There's lots of mining resources with imbalanced economies. I like Bohemians here. In gold, we used to see, like Dragonstar used to mine the stone and gold in the back, full wall, and go fast castle into wagons. And I think just like mining lots of golds with Bohemians makes sense because they get the gold mining upgrades for free. Miguel's struggling, though. Like, I think he's going to market and try and buy his way up to castle. But this guy's got nothing on land right now. But if he takes out this dock eventually, then he could freely fish back here. And it's the same for Margougou. Like, none of them can fish because of the potential of the opponent to hop out with something. I'm not loving Miguel's economy, but if he can click up to Castle Age first and get to Siege, it might not be too bad. This dock's still standing here. This villager can head over and repair that dock. It's so funny how there's these villagers stuck between the docks. It's so ridiculous. And Miguel buys food, and Miguel's up. Margougou's going to probably mess around with the market as well. I mean, Margougou's got farms, so his long-term food eco is much better. Plus, he's got the gold mining upgrades for his civ, so when he mines gold, it's more efficient. Now, here he tries to disrupt the wood line. And, oh, some of his ships ejected onto the other side because there wasn't enough space. Disaster. Oh, that hurts him so much. Oh, man. Sometimes if you try and eject ships or units and there's not enough space, they'll go out the other side. So he would have actually been able to contest here. But he can't now because these ships are stuck. And I'm not sure he knows that. What a weird game. Honestly, I think the first thing Miguel should do is a siege workshop. And then he should just drop a castle here, right? Siege, and then you forward castle. And then just try and play water. Play water and castle drop. And the castle drop could accomplish enough. I think, Margougou, like, the only way you let these ships pass is if you delete your dock. But I think you should never do that. I think, if anything, you want to bring these ships over here. Miguel actually had the same thing happen, where one of his ships went to the other side. And now his fire ship isn't attacking. Or maybe it is. I don't even know. I don't think it was. But yeah, siege needs to be immediate here. Or you just YOLO it and drop the castle, because you're down bad if you don't. And actually, Margougou did delete his dock. He's going to rebuild one now, and he's now able to harass a little bit. And here goes Miguel with what will be a castle drop, and Margougou knows this, so Margougou's placing building foundations. Miguel, just drop the castle. Just drop it here. Drop it. Drop it like it's hot. Drop it. Ah! Ah! But you know what he's doing? Is he's sending enough fills. He sent like half his whole economy, but that castle's going up, people. That castle's going up, and now Margougou will not have any of this stone, any of this gold. He is on this stone in the back. The positive here for Margougou is Miguel is not going to be making his unique unit out of this castle. It's unique unit castle drops that are really terrifying, and he cannot afford to make a war elephant, especially since he doesn't have fish anymore, and Margougou has fish. So advantage Margougou, and I think Margougou, the big thing for him right now the way you would lose this game is if he doesn't chop to the outer ring. You got to be aware of that in these instances, that you need to eventually break out. I guess Villager has actually passed through. I guess you could use her. But, you know, as long as he is able to just escape and expand, he should be okay here. Miguel's not going to give up on water. But, guys, Miguel is no food eco. Like, Miguel, he needed this castle to really do more damage. Or he needs the Navy to pay off in some way. And Margougou, he's going to upgrade to War Galley now, which I think is perfect. He can dominate the water on both sides. If he's able to do that, plus also, you know, just fall back, he should be okay here. Ooh, okay, this is smart. See, again, like, Miguel, you can't make anything out of the castle with Persians. So you can't really, you know, have a follow-up, and you can't stop anything like this. You have no army. Now, a lot of times players would go fast imp off a fish boom in these situations when it's castle v castle. That's obviously not going to happen. But Miguel may be thinking that he could ram this castle down or something. Margougou has done a fantastic job with his villager. My goodness. Like, the fact that that villager made this dock at all changed this entire game. It's been incredible. Villager's now dead, of course. But Margougou's still fishing. Margougou's on 2 town centers. Margougou's out here, could see more resources. And Miguel, I mean, he hasn't even tried to farm. I really don't know what his plan is here. It seems really difficult for him to afford things right now. Okay, he wants War Galley. Mangonel is out. And the new and improved wagons are way more accurate. And the Mangonel just goes down to 2 units out of the castle from Margougou. We have a tie series. Margougou gets his victory. It was a back and forth game. I still have to return to my statement at the start, though. On this map, just take your elephant first and then do whatever else you want. Margougou rewarded for going forward and trying to steal an elephant. And perhaps, you know, Miguel, if he played 10 practice games on this, he's been able to get away with it. But I think you always scout the front of your base first. It's a fixed position map, so it's not like you don't know where your opponent is. You know the opponent's over there. You check for the elephant. You don't push in a deer first, especially with the civilization that gets plus 50 wood and plus 50 food. And then I think, you know, the game doesn't fall as much into recovery mode for Miguel. He's maybe able to accomplish a little bit more, whether that be a faster castle age or army in feudal age. When there's one elephant, that is going to be the target, and it has been. And I mean, you could see the difference of approach immediately from Margougou. He takes his elephant, right? Takes his elephant right away, and then also goes forward with the scout. There's just a clear difference, and it's just safe play. So you're not left with having to recover with lack of food. But the creative play from Margougou to get this dock down was a big deal here. I thought Miguel was going to be able to recover otherwise. And then also I think we maybe saw the reason Persians struggle. It's just their eco's good, their start's good, their docks are strong. But if that's not it, you don't have a ton of other things that really bring you back. You don't have like monks that a lot of players like to go for. You don't really have a unique unit that is realistic. Sorry, war elephants. But yeah, good game. And you know, now, you know, puts pressure back on Miguel as we head over to Miguel's home map. All right, friends. So here we are, game number 3. And as I have been saying, really important for both of these two because they started off and they lost their first round. Miguel got swept. Margougou lost 2-1. And so right now, live standings, Margougou has 2 wins. Miguel just has 1. Now, compared to some of the other players in TTL, they don't have as many wins because this isn't their 3rd round. This is still just their 2nd round. However, loser of this series is in the relegation zone. Loser of this series is definitely favorite to be relegated, potentially. So Miguel's gone for the Franks on a map where you see lots of heavy scout and snipe play, and Franks are perfect for that. He's also moving forward very early here. Maybe like trying to steal some sheep or something from the Gurjaras, which I think is a solid pick. You already, regardless of Civ, start with a fruit bush underneath your TC on Lance Madness. But then the Gurjaras get 2 additional forage bushes due to, you know, their Civ bonus. But then you also can put the sheep inside the mill. Leads to pretty fast uptimes. Now, Gurjaras cannot make knights. So the offensive potential in Castle Age is way less. They can make this Revamsha Rider, which is very speedy and good at raiding. But it's still not as efficient and effective as killing villagers as knights. And they also, Gurjaras can't go pikemen. So I feel as though I personally prefer the Franks. I get the Gurjara pick. I've seen it before. It can do really well at countering what the Franks can do. But I think if it gets to knights and eco and like knight pikemen, you have way less potential as the Gurjaras. Then you have so much more potential maybe to chase down and counter the knights, because the camels you have also do additional bonus damage. So it's tricky. Like, Sito, I know, has picked Gurjaras against Franks before. Sito pretty close with Margougou. Two solid French players, so I imagine they maybe discuss strategy. But, you know, I would say, to make it simpler, a civ that relies solely on camels could be problematic with the offensive side. So we'll see. T90 has third round of Doubt versus Daniel been postponed. The series itself, yes. I think it was supposed to be today, and I think it's been switched to tomorrow. I post all the games that are happening today, and they're all pinned in the chat. It'll be Miguel Margougou, Valis versus Lix, then Ganji versus Lan. I don't have tomorrow's 3 sets memorized. But yeah, things change with players scheduling things all the time, and we're aiming to do 3 sets a day. So that's the plan. Really nice back gold here for Miguel. Wood is actually a concern. Oh god, his wood is actually horrible. Actually, both their woods are horrible. I guess Margougou's got a couple areas to look around. I mean, Land Madness is kind of meant to be open and aggressive. But when I saw this, I was like, well, that's not great. But then I saw this, and if anything, this is more forward, so. But yeah, I expect scout opening. Maybe a world where Margougou makes use of the creating camels and feudal age bonus. I don't think, though, that we will see like a camel opening. They still take 60 seconds to produce. But I think when you're on the way to Castle Age, that's when you should be making camels and feudal. Because they just become the camel riders immediately upon arriving to Castle Age. It's nice to get a lead with that. So yeah, very thin forests. There's no potential for any true walling here on this version now of Land Madness because there's stones around the outside as well. So anywhere you see stone terrain, you cannot wall. Those should be aggressive. Miguel loves his stable units. He picked Persians partly for that reason in the previous game. He wasn't able to even get a stable up. But Miguel's going to get that here, and there's his barracks. We'll follow that up with a stable. Same thing for Margougou, who's gone up even faster. So, like, the amount of food that Margougou's working with is pretty insane. Last couple times I played the Gurjaras, I feel like the eco is a whole lot more smooth. If once you finish this type of food, you send like, at least 3 of these sheep underneath the TC. But, like, some players have done that. Like, we talked about Doubt. Doubt, for example, is a player who does that right now. It's been a while since I've seen him play Gurjaras, but pretty sure he would. But I forget who it was last time, but the last time I saw a player, they didn't do it. So I think it's just a player preference thing. This is really bad. Really, really, really bad for Miguel. Oh, God. The slightly faster uptime here, plus the camel bonus damage is insane. Oh, that whole scout is just going to disappear. Ah! You do have a faster scout than the camel scout in feudal age, so that the scout could actually make it home. But even the fact that that thing is almost dead right now is huge. Nothing more frustrating than that, where you move out to go scout your opponent at the right time, and all they've done is stay at home to push deer and have been greedy. And you feel like you're trying to do the right thing and scout, and you just get punished for it. I feel like more players need to do precisely what Margougou has done here. Not just on Land Madness, but with the Gurjaras in general. Because any early feudal age attack normally relies on the enemy scout. So if you're up faster and they're around your base, you just weaken the scout and then you just take it from there. And now, of course, Miguel has to scout the base, and he's probably not too happy with how this has started. And already we've seen the counter potential paying off. Though, Another weak scout on the field. As Margougou's scout goes directly into Miguel's spear. So Miguel's probably feeling a bit better about things after that. And maybe a little worse about things after this. But let's see. Scouts and spears. Now, again, it's like, how do you counter spears with the Gurjaras? Well, the Gurjaras would go Chakram, which is their unique unit, but you need a castle for that. And that's not so easy on a super open map. So, like, I really feel as though heavy spearman play could bode well for Miguel in the long run. However, he doesn't have any spearmen at home right now. You could tell he was thinking about walling this up, but he didn't wall that side first, and Margougou gets the villager pick. Great stuff from him. Margougou has preemptively walled everything. On the wood, the berries are protected with spears right now. So, economic lead, definitely there for Margougou. Miguel hoping for damage. Now, I like what Margougou's done. Having the berries close by is also really nice. I feel like this is too close. I feel like this is something we've got to look at. It's so tough with Land Madness, though, because there's res. The idea is there's res everywhere. But look at that. Like, the berries being very close by, very resourceful from him to protect that, take that. Miguel, obviously, lots of farms with the Frank farming eco. Will be feeling more good about that. But I like how Margougou is also combining farms with the berries and also making tons of scouts. Miguel really wants kills. He's bringing forward even more spears, and he's got 7 spears on the map right now. Spears in defense. And then spears on the front as well. And Margougou under some pressure here. Lots of stuff happening at Margougou's base. Things could easily go wrong for him if he looks away for a moment. Also could easily take losses here, but Miguel's spears, they're here. They're just not here, you know? Like, they're not in the position maybe they need to be. And he's distracted with the fight. Miguel's got to pull away here. He's got another spear on the way. Meanwhile, we're seeing fights taken, but it feels like Margougou's defending and Miguel is taking more losses. He's lost another Vil. And Miguel really struggling to really get any damage done here. Here he's even losing the spearman battle. But the spears are out of position, so he goes in for revenge. And once the snipes against Margougou, he's not going to be able to get it, though. Beautiful play from Margougou. The eco feels smooth, too. Like, res collected right now. He's collected more food. He's collected more wood. Obviously, he has more villagers. And you just know what the Franks are going to do. He's defended with the spears. And then in the long run as well, he's hoping the Gurjaras will work well for him. Miguel still has quite a few spears, but he doesn't have as many spears as Margougou. And anytime he shows up, Margougou seems to have the answers. Here, Margougou has the answers. 7-1! How dare you, Margougou? You can't do that against Brazilians. Oh, that's the second time in the Land Madness we've seen there be a 7-1 KD against Miguel. I was told very explicitly by a Brazilian viewer, you are not allowed to make those jokes anymore. It's too soon. So I guess I broke that viewer's wishes. Probably a rough time for Miguel as well, but he's not hearing what I'm saying, so I'm okay with that. Scouts go in. Now that should be a villager kill, but it's not a villager kill, and we have a pause now. And really feels as though Margougou's in the better position. I noticed this. Let me look. What happened here? Okay, so they're actually, I think is this about the berries maybe? Or wood? Miguel, okay, so they paused. Should it be 2 berries? Only 1, I think I'm just lucky. 1 extra spot. Okay, so they're talking about the berries because Miguel notes it. Ask admin if you want, no problem. Ask admin, no problem. Miguel says, nah, whatever, let's go. I mean, they didn't pause that long. Should I look? And JBR should be around. Yeah, no discussion had, no ask or question towards us. So I guess we move on. And I think they're back in it. Here we are. And Miguel's got to find some answers here. He's got to find some value from his attacks. There's an archer in the mix here too, which is going to be really annoying. Because if you have any spears in defense now, if you're Miguel, and he doesn't really have that many because many of them are forward, that archer's going to take that out pretty quickly. Forging's in. So forging for the scouts and spears could work. We've got 4 spearmen here for Margougou. And now the attack happening at Miguel's base. And Miguel resigns. Well, that's rough. I feel like there was still potential for this game to play out a little bit longer. Margougou certainly had the lead. And I mean, Miguel paused there to potentially ask us about the berry situation. I was willing to have a discussion on it, but I didn't see anything in the room. I said it's something maybe we got to look at to try and avoid in the future because it was close. But honestly, Margougou played really smooth the whole way through. He didn't take any damage from the initial scouts. He had the lead early feudal. He has maybe a better economic civilization with the sheep and whatnot. And, well, Margougou gets the win 2-1 here. Miguel then has one win after his first 2 rounds and is going to need to get good results in his final 3 rounds to turn things around a little bit in this group. But definitely another weird ending to the series with Miguel. Which is unfortunate because after the first game, I really felt as though I was like, oh, wow, Miguel gets the win, right? Like, okay, he's got more confidence today. Oh, wow, this is good. And then here it was a little painful. Yeah, I agree. I think that Margougou is ahead in this game. And obviously, he does play it a little bit differently if not having the berries. But I think Margougou played better this game. But hopefully doesn't take anything away from Margougou, I guess, as Margougou gets a 2-1 victory. So, let's go to the groups. Let's look at the results. See where we're at. All right. So, after 2 rounds, Miguel and Draken are tied at the bottom with 1 win. Now, if that stands, Miguel and Draken will be the players relegated, right? Because it's 5th and 6th place relegated. It is only 4th place that stays alive, and then 1st through 3rd goes to playoffs in some capacity. So, Miguel and Draken struggling the most thus far. However, Miguel played Dogao, and Miguel played Margougou. It will be tough for him because he has Veleza, ACCM, and then Draken coming. But he will actually, I think, play Draken next. I don't actually know, to be honest. It says TBD here, which is the case. It's Margougou that plays Draken next. Got it. That'll be an important series for Draken to win. Is that officially 2 rounds done then? Yeah, so that's officially 2 rounds done for every single player in this group. And it is 5 Veleza, 4 Dogao, 4 ACCM, 3 Margougou, and then 1 for Miguel, 1 for Draken in Group B. So the next round has to be a turnaround type of round for Miguel and Draken based on how things look. Especially, like, it would be especially big to see Draken get wins versus Margougou or Miguel get wins against Draken. But Draken Margougou series, if Draken wins that like gives him a really good shot at survival. Because then he catches up to Margougou, who's currently in that 4th place spot. So Group B, kind of going as expected a little bit. I personally felt like Miguel hasn't shown the level that he could show. Maybe the motivation isn't there. Maybe there's some frustration. And then Draken, I've still got faith in him. Because remember, Draken, he's played Veleza, and then he's played ACCM. So he's got Dogao, Miguel, and Margougou remaining, where I think it's more likely that he could snag wins. So, because I think this is important. So, obviously, every single game matters in this format, right? Every game's so important, right? So, that's why I took the time to discuss it between the 2 players. And basically, what happened here with this script hold on. Oh, it's Capture Age. Hold on. Okay. So, what happened here with the script is, you tend to have berries, wood, goldstone spread out everywhere, right? And in this case, it's clear as day now because it's already been discussed. The second berry super close to Margougou is just, it's a really nice advantage for him, right? So, best case scenario, what happens is players or myself or anyone, notices, stops immediately, says, okay, we replay this. They just do new gen, same saves, obviously replay it, right? That didn't happen. I'm talking about the matchups. I'm talking about things I'm looking all around. Didn't see it. Second best case scenario is a player says, hey, this is an issue, pauses, messages in the admin chat, which I have up on the other screen, and says, hey, what's the situation here? That didn't happen. Or what we did have was eventually like a pause way later, and within that pause, which I showed you, they discussed it, but Miguel said, never mind, not a big deal, and never said anything in the admin chat. They played out the game to a GG. So then they discussed it afterwards, and I obviously discussed it with them, and I voiced, like, well, this is kind of a tricky situation because there was no official contact. You didn't say anything to us about it, though, you know, the first job of like myself, I suppose, failed in not noticing this. So I'm going to just read the words, like, just to, because I think every game is really important, and I wanted to honor that and make sure it was clear for the players. Just going to say what I said. So I said, obviously, best case scenario, I or someone notice at minute 2 and say something and we restart, and that didn't happen. Next best scenario, players contact admins about it and ask, which also didn't happen. And I kind of left it up to the players, and I said, I'm tempted to say we need to replay this, but it also feels very odd to do that because the game went to a GG. I think that could be seen as unfair to Margougou to replay it, but also it was clearly unfair to Miguel that the map happened in the first place. And I just asked the players, like, thoughts, because I think that's important here. And Miguel said there will be no restart. We're not restarting it. The win is Margougou's. So kind of a crappy thing to happen. Really tried to do my best with the situation. You know, it just never panned out, you know, for us to hear about it at the time, and Miguel doesn't want to replay it, and Margougou, whether he would have offered or not, I'm not sure, never got there. So that's the situation there with game number 3 for anyone that was curious on the map. I just felt it was necessary to show, like, that we kind of did what we could with it, and that's where things ended up going. So it's going to be 2-1 Margougou